morning and welcome to Miners Easy Sunday, where we hang out with the creme de la creme of the world of music. And this morning, we are hanging out with a guy who can only be described as a living legend. Without him, can I just say this right now, music would never be the same. And I'm talking about Kenny Babyface Edmonds. We are hanging out with him. But where did it all start for him? You know, when they say if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. He was out hanging out in a pub and he met someone who was going to change his life forever. And then he reveals just how he got the nickname Babyface. Babyface story starts now.
Kenneth Brian Edmonds was born on April 10, 1959 in Indianapolis, Indiana, the second eldest of 6 children. At an early age, Kenneth took up playing the guitar and later learned keyboards. In junior high school, Kenny performed with many different bands, including the band Manchild. In 1981, Kenny hooked up with Antonio L.A. Reid, who was performing with a group called The Deal.
I got named Babyface in The Deal. When I was in The Deal, when I first got in the group, everybody had a short name, a nice or nickname. It was Carlos, D, L.A., K.O., Stick, and Kenny Edmonds. And that just did not flow. So we were looking for a nickname. They tried all kind of nicknames. It was Romeo, it was Muskegon. Muskegon was my pack handle. Just all kind of names that just were not working. You know, a nickname has to work because it naturally happens. And then of course there's the story when I walked in the studio and Bootsy yells out, "There's Babyface. What's up, Babyface?" And I didn't think anything of it, but until one night we were playing in 85. We were on tour. There was this big interest. And suddenly there were girls coming backstage asking, "Where's Babyface? I want to meet Babyface. I want to meet Babyface." So the switch of a name from Kenny Edmonds to Babyface, just in terms of how commercial that was, I learned the lesson immediately. So there was no question about when I came out with the solo record who it should be. It should be Babyface because the whole Kenny Edmonds thing was just wasn't commercial. The very first time I met L.A. was actually in Indianapolis in the Zodiac Club. And they were, he was in a group, was it The Deal? It was The Deal. We had gone through so much in our career, so many disappointments, so many ups and downs, that when something really good happened, we didn't jump up and down about it that much. We were like, please, but you weren't going to see us like jumping up and down because we just went through so much stuff and had so much more stuff to go through.
With Miners Easy Sunday, and we're with Babyface today. What an enigma this guy is. So he felt that the sound of The Deal was not getting properly. So he thought, the only way I can express myself properly is if I go solo, which is what he did. But how did he get his inspiration to start writing music? It's a story that is going to blow your mind. And in a way, we're going to be thankful for the girl he's describing here. Listen as Babyface's story continues.
After the head of Solar Records noticed L.A. and Babyface's producing skills on their own work, the two were enlisted to write and produce for The Whispers and Shalimar. Soon after, they were producing big-name acts like The Jacksons and newcomers Karen White, and After 7, which featured 2 of Babyface's brothers and 1 of his cousins, and Pebbles, who married L.A. Reid. During all of this, Babyface was also working on his career as a solo artist. He released his debut album, Lovers, in 1986. Babyface then made his mark with his sophomore album in 1989 with Tender Lover.
He always had to come with tempo. If you wanted to get on the radio, you had to have a record that was going to be a dance record, or at least with tempo. And so those were the reasons. Those are the kind of records I was trying to do to try to be believable of me doing that kind of music, and finding a way to get my personality and my artistry on a song that feels natural. What's the worst that could happen? It won't work. And I could say, well, I'm just a guitar and background singer anyway, so who cares? And that's how I kind of basically got going. It was really a thing like, well, I might as well try it. If they wanted me to do it, he's going to give me a deal, to do it. It wasn't like I didn't go out and get a solo deal, got a great big advance and all of it. Nothing like that. It was just, I just ended up doing an extra record. And little by little, things started to happen. It was over a period of time before the whole Babyface thing, started to transpire. I was totally in love with this girl around the New Boat, and couldn't have her. she liked another guy. And she was a 5th grader, and she first came to school. And the very first day she got on the bus, I was like blown away. She came on the bus with this blue furry coat, and that was it. It was instant love. I immediately started writing a diary. Teddy Gaines saw her, and he wanted to talk to her, but he didn't. He was kind of a little shy himself and didn't know exactly what to say. But so he wanted to write her a letter. You can guess who ended up writing the love note. And so I put in everything that I would want to say to her in this love note, and then I gave it to Teddy, and Teddy signed it, and he gave it to her. Next week later, it was girlfriend and boyfriend with Rhonda. That was a little hard for me, but at the same time, I was like, it was my note.
Good times and great hits. Welcome to Miners Easy Sunday, and we're hanging out with a guy whose story just reads like a romance novel, and that can only be Babyface. So he's a real performer, there's no doubt about that, but we all must admit his biggest strength is in writing and producing music for other artists, and he talks about this now. And what does he think of the late Whitney Houston, of Karen White, of Toni Braxton, Christina Aguilera, Eric Clapton, and Boyz II Men? He gives his verdict. Listen up.
After the success of his sophomore album, Tender Lover, Babyface and L.A. Reid would form their own label, LaFace Records, with the financial backing of Arista Records. Later, their roster would include Toni Braxton, Usher, Outkast, The Tony Rich Project, TLC, and Pink. Here's Babyface talking to the Mad Hatter Morning Show about being an executive and an artist.
Because you have to be careful about getting too involved, because you lose the creative process, and that's probably the best thing about my relationship with LA. As we were doing LaFace Records, he allowed me to be involved, but then he also allowed me to enough space between it so that I could still stay creative. Mm-hmm. So once you go down that road totally, it's almost impossible to still come up with music and work with other artists and stay on the creative side. Once you get into that business side, it can engulf you, and so you gotta be careful how you walk the line. I've always considered myself an R&B writer. I'm a soul man. The stuff that I did over the years just finally happened to get popular, so it made it become pop music. But the basis from where I've always written from has always been from soul music. That's who I am. And so when I have the chance to work with someone that has a really soulful voice, that's when I have a great time. I look forward to that. I look forward to singers that just bring the soul. That's why it's so fun to work with little Whitney. I was shooping, and the shoops felt so good that I thought, well, why should I even put a lyric there? It should just be that. I didn't even try to put a lyric there. I was just, because I liked the way the shoops felt. And Whitney was funny, because when she first heard it, she thought, okay, so what lyric is that going to be? You don't ran out of words or something, but it was like, that was the magic of it. I thought it was just that you didn't need words. It was just, the feeling was there. Toni Braxton, hearing the soulfulness in her voice, it blew me away, and it hit me like, I gotta work with her. I gotta get her to sing. I gotta be able to write for her. I know that she can bring my songs to life if I just get her to sing and have that chance to work with her. And she did exactly that. A voice that was just very clear and almost sounded like candy. It was so sweet in terms of like a good Snickers bar or something. I still say the best singing, guys group that I've ever heard and ever worked with. They have voices that truly paint a picture.
Welcome to Miners Easy Sunday, and we're hanging out with Babyface. What a story, eh? And then he's had probably the least drama ever. But I'll tell you what, you cannot have everything. He'll now talk about why his wife left him for Eddie Murphy. Yes, even people like Babyface get left, by the way. And then the big split with his long-term writing and production partner, L.A. Reid. What really went down? listeners, Babyface talks about it, and some words of advice we'd all be wise to take up. Enjoy the finale of Babyface on Miners Easy Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you tomorrow. Be good.
You are famous for having one of the best divorces anybody's ever heard, seen, known, or read about. How did you feel about her marrying Eddie Murphy?
I didn't think it was the best thing.
For her or for your kids? Or both?
For both. Mm-hmm. I didn't know Eddie to that extent, and I didn't want to judge him on things that I had heard. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of like, with Tracy, I just said, it's your decision. And so if that's what you're going to do, then obviously I support you, and we'll make the best of it if it goes that way. So it wasn't for me to
step in and say, no, don't marry that
this
man.
Is not going to,
Yeah.
But I think things happened the way they were supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Kenny's ex-wife, Tracy, is now dating NFL legend Deion Sanders.
Tracy's my friend. Mm-hmm. So we are friends for life. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to always wish nothing but good for her.
I, first of all, have never seen any two men, and certainly not in this lifetime on the planet Earth, two black men sitting together, having a conversation about your ex-wife, and now you're going to be with my ex-wife, and I wish you well. What the hell was that?
I'm happy for you guys.
I appreciate that. I'm happy for you too, man.
This is a different situation for most folks.
Yes, it is.
Deion's a good guy. Tracy's a good girl. She's the mother of my children, and we have a great relationship. We live to make sure our children are happy. Deion did one thing that, for me, that I thought was the classiest thing in the world. Now, I was always, I've talked to Tracy about her relationships. Who she might be dating. I kind of say, maybe, I don't know. And I've given her my opinion on certain things through the past. And then she told me she was dating Deion. And I knew that Deion was prime time. Seems like a nice guy. Well, he became a classy guy when he called me and said he didn't want to meet my children until he sat down and had lunch or breakfast with me, so he knew me before he met my children.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was in. I reached my hand out, because Tracy's family. And so I want to make sure that she's good. And I know that she wants to make sure that I'm good. L.A. and I did go through a rough time with each other. When people get in your business, and if you talk about it, and you talk about it in public, and you sit there and try to work things out with each other with all your business in public, it'll never work out. So what happened with us stays with us. And that's why we're still together. And that's why we're still cool, because we didn't let anybody get in it and break it down. People will break your stuff down if you let them in it. So, but if you don't let them, then you'll survive. And people take you to the level. They take you to that point. And it's hard. It's hard to swallow your pride and still remain the nice guy. It gets very difficult sometimes, but when you are able to do it and kind of get through it, then ultimately you feel really good about yourself. And so far, I think I've been able to do that.